This first part of the reading is always, it's an overview. So what we're going to be looking at is 2022 as a 6 year. This is really important context because it's going to tell you how the year is likely to go in its trends, its themes, the energies that we're likely to experience. And that provides an important context and a backdrop for how we're all going to be experiencing this in, or rather, through the context of the universal year. But more importantly, how that energy is going to play out for us really speaks to how we experience our personal year. So that in itself as well is just as important. I will put a link for those personal year videos in the I'll put one in the description, and I'll put one on the little thing floating above my head so that you can get even more into it. But like I said, this part, don't skip it. It's really important that you get an idea of what we're going to be dealing with. And I will be going very in depth this time round. So let's get straight into it. So 2022 is a 6 year, as you now know. 6 is actually the number that is ruled by Venus. So we can definitely say that 2022 is going to be a much easier, a much slower paced year. It's going to be a much calmer year. What I will say as well, 2021 saw us, we kind of experienced a lot of change, right? A lot of upheaval, lots of sharp turns, lots of twists and turns, lots of surprises. It did see a lot of advances in technology, which I talked about. It did see a lot of advances in cryptocurrency, which I talked about in the 2020 videos, right? In the videos for 2021. So it's great to see that this kind of tracks. Now, in terms of the universal year being the number 6, it is tended towards like a slower pace. It's more focused, it's more connected. It's a lot less erratic as well, which is great for all of us, especially those of us that are already naturally a little bit erratic. It's going to be a year that is directed more towards altruism, a year that's directed more to support, to connection, to balance, harmony. It's definitely going to be a year where people really start to consider their own personal impact on things. So we're going to see this energy of accountability is going to start to become a really big or really powerful theme throughout 2022. Now, that accountability isn't just going to be for us on the microcosmic level. It's going to be for all of us on the macrocosmic level as well. So this is going to be about governments. This is going to be about people that are in charge, people that are heads of companies, heads of state, etc. There's going to be a lot more of people expecting others to be accountable for their actions and, more importantly, for their impact on the wider world. So as always, I've got my trusty notes here. So if I'm looking away, that's where I am. All right. So in a way, the buzzword for this number 6 year is responsibility. It's one of the biggest words that comes up for the energy of the number 6, right? So it's going to come sharply into focus for all of us in some way, shape or form. Who are we responsible for? Who are we responsible to? And more importantly, how do we meet those requirements? How is it that we really show up for what and who we are responsible for? And how do we play our part, right? Whether for the good or for the ill, as they say. So some of the considerations that are going to come up with this year, and these are definitely not, like, it's not just limited to the things that I mentioned. You'll see many trends and themes evolve over the year, but these are the ones that I've really honed in on because I kind of feel like these are going to be like they're going to be like the structure or the skeleton of the year that really kind of shows people, right, okay, this is where we're at. So domestic life, when it comes to your home, its contents, everybody that lives within, so people that you live with or, people that you want to live with. How can you get the most out of your home? How can you improve your home? There's going to be a lot of decorating, interior design is really going to take off this year or become a lot more prominent. People, doing more development on their homes. So that whole thing about construction of new homes, definitely going to be a theme throughout this year. The materials that we need in order to construct homes is also going to be a challenge over the course of this year. It's a continuation in a sense, yes, but these things are really going to be highlighted. How can you make your home look and feel better for yourself or for the people that are dwelling inside with you? What can you do to make your home a sanctuary, right? Because your house is what keeps you safe from the elements. It's what helps you shut the world outside out when you need to. It's supposed to be a sanctuary. supposed to be warm, you know, to be a place where all of your needs can be met regardless of what's happening. And I think a lot of people are really going to tap into that this year. Home, the hearth, the family, familial ties and connections, whether these are familial ties and connections that you choose or whether they're familial ties and connections that you're born to, is kind of going to be irrelevant this year. It's going to be all about how do we connect? How do we, you know, bring more of that connection in? These things are going to be more important than ever, so I do feel like those things will definitely expand. So on the wider world stage, this is likely to translate to a housing crisis. It might also be that we start to get more conscious of how can we eliminate the problem of homelessness. We might see a big drive towards how we can start to improve, you know, living life for people. It's ridiculous. It's just, sorry, excuse my language, but it's effing ridiculous that in 2022 we still have homeless people. It's just unfathomable. It just doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. Okay, rant over. Reining it in. All right, so this whole thing about, again, right, this disparity between wealth and, you know, the super wealthy and all the rest of it. Not only are we going to see more of a divide, but we're going to start to see more calls to action to shrinking that divide, to making things more equal, to making things more balanced. Remember, this number is ruled by Venus. Venus is all about balance. It's all about harmony. It's all about smoothing off the rough edges. So it's probably going to see us highlighting what we can do for those that are homeless in some way, shape or form. So another thing that I've got here as well is cleanliness. So I believe that over the course of this year, we're going to see a much more, we're going to be more focused on cleanliness, and how that can be a part of our daily routines, which I find this really interesting as well, because in ancient astrology, Demetra George writes in one of her books that one of the things that is assigned to Aquarius is cleanliness, right? Which is really interesting to me because Saturn, the ruler of Aquarius, is in the sign of Aquarius. So I found that really interesting that as soon as we had this, yes, we had the pandemic and the shutdown and the lockdown and stuff, but we also had this really, you know, powerful, stringent drive towards being more clean. Now, what I will say is what I've got here is, what is clean? How do we clean? And I think this is going to see a lot of developments on the wider world stage on how we can cleanse or clean our lives, our homes and our bodies, but in ways that aren't toxic to us or the environment. So there's going to be a lot of developments on how we can work in harmony or in tandem with nature rather than fighting with it in some way, which I think is great, right? So we're probably going to see new technologies and things developed when it comes to cleanliness. I think this is going to have a lot to do with sound and frequency. I've got this really, you know, powerful hit when I was doing all of the research for this year, that these are going to be some of the ways that we really tap into this idea of cleansing ourselves, cleansing our space, cleansing our body. And remember, everything at the end of the day is vibration and frequency. So I think we're going to see a lot to do with developments on that front. We'll definitely be paying more attention to our oceans, our seas, our rivers and our lakes. There's going to be big focus on how to clean up our water supply, because if we don't have water, it don't matter how rich, what your status, where you're from, if you ain't got water, you ain't got life, period, right? Clean water is a necessity for everybody. So there's going to be more money and attention placed on the vital waters of life. I definitely believe that. That being said, new developments in blood cleansing and vaccinations. I definitely feel 2026 is where we're going to see a massive advancement towards a cure or a vaccine for HIV and various other illnesses as well. So when it comes to healing, we're definitely going to see a big focus on this as well. A lot of the new age methods will start to really gain prominence. Now, when I say new age, what I actually mean is ancient ways of healing, herbalism, medical astrology, sound, frequency, vibration, all of those things, energy healing. We're going to see all of these things really start to come to the fore. Natural, non-toxic, non-invasive ways of healing are going to really prevail over this year. And here's the beauty of it. I don't think that this is going to pit us at odds with the medical tradition. I actually feel like we're going to start to see a dovetail. This is where we're going to start to see how can we fuse these things? How can we really find ways to integrate the two, which will be brilliant. I definitely think we're going to see an expansion of such things. Sound healing, frequency, vibrational healing will definitely come to the fore. I also think that medical science is definitely going to advance this year. Like, I really believe that. But as a result, I think we're going to see more and more of a crossover between the two. If not a global level, then at least at a grassroots level. And that grassroots level of everything is going to be very important this year, because we're going to see a lot more of that. All right, we're going to start to see less of the we're going to start to see it more on the microcosmic level, let's say. Herbalism, definitely going to be a revival. Green get together and more group healing work as well is definitely going to start to expand. So when we talk about spiritual progression, to be spiritual is to be organized and in harmony with all that surrounds you and all that you encounter. So just like its upside down counterpart, the number 6 has a natural draw towards leaving the world and people better than you find them, right? 6 is actually the number that is all about responsibility and service. It's the energy of the agony aunt or the healer or the mystic or the the maintenance or the caregiver, right? So it's all about leaving things and people or even environments better than you find them. We're going to see a lot of this year and a lot of drive towards that. This energy as well can be known as the fixer energy. So it takes problems, challenges and issues, and it will lovingly and painstakingly work on them until they're dissipated or, removed altogether. It's actually a very spiritual number in that sort of sense. And because, the highest form of spirituality is to be of service to the universe in some way, shape or form. I truly believe that. Now, this is, what I've put here is it's the cleansing ritual before the magic and the enchantment of the year 7, 2023 kicks in, right? So for those of you that are into this kind of thing, 6 is the year of the clearing and the cleansing of the space before you set your enchantment or your intention forth in the 7 or the spiritual sphere, all right? So it's an important aspect or a part of this that people often overlook, right? So remember, all steps are important in the process of manifesting something. You can't leave one out, and that means not leaving out the cleansing stage as well. All right, so on the wider world stage, we're definitely going to see more care towards service providers, healthcare workers and professionals, people that actually showed up for us when it really bleeping mattered. Like, we're going to see a lot more kindness and courtesy towards those people, if not from, the oligarchs and all of the hierarchical stuff, certainly from the people on the ground below. All right, so support and connection. This is a very supportive energy. It's very connective. 6 has that natural pull, that natural draw towards harmonizing things, bridging the gaps between things that maybe don't have any connection and finding a way to create one. It means as well taking form from one thing to give to another. So this may very well see. So 2020 and 2021, we saw a lot of wealth transference from the majority of the people to the minority of the people. 2022 is going to start to see the opposite. It's the way that universal law works, right? You can't have something that is unbalanced. The universe doesn't like it, just like it doesn't like a vacuum, right? So it's very, very interesting to see how this will come out. This divide between the wealthy and the poor, we're definitely going to see more of a spotlight on it. If it goes ignored, there will be a lot of noise and a relentless drive towards making it better for everybody as opposed to just a certain few. So let that be a universal warning to those Those that are in charge. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a vessel. This will definitely be the starting of the community living. So lots of people have talked about this, and we know it's coming through in the astrology as well. 2022 is where we're really going to see this stuff start to happen. It's actually going to become a reality. We're going to see communities popping up left, right and center. People will be demanding more connection, more community, more sense of pulling together. If they don't get it, and it's not present in the world, then they'll just create it themselves. It will literally just be that, like, okay, well, what we want and what we need isn't being provided, so we'll do it our damn selves. And once we've done that, there's not going to be any standing in our way because we declare our own, right? So, you know, I love it. It will definitely be more about people coming together and living together as well. More sharing, more caring is the name on is the name and the number of Venus. Beauty and romance. So while this number is very practical, it's also very Venusian in a sense. It does appreciate anything and everything natural. We're going to see a draw towards more sort of neutral colors, lots more pastel colors, things that are a lot more things that are a lot more pleasing to the eyes, things that are lighter, brighter and more caring. So 2021 was a lot about sort of, you know, what was really in your face and really bold and really deep and all the rest of it, whereas 2022 is going to be a lot more sort of smoother. So I've put here pastels and greens, yellows and blues. Gentle color palettes are definitely going to be way more favorable, as will gentle makeups, anything that is natural, that's kind to the skin, that's kind to the environment, that's easy to make without destroying the environment. All of this is going to be to the fore. Startups that promise to be you know, kind to the environment, or to offer more in the way of you know, kindness to flora and fauna will definitely come up over the course of this year for sure. Also, the demand for more greenery, the demand for more natural feel to things, for more open spaces, more room for animals, more connection to, with and for nature is going to be to the forefront. And again, if we don't get it, people will just start to create it. People are definitely going to start walking away from cities, anywhere that's too built up, where you're living on top of each other like, you know, sardines and stuff. It's just not the way of it anymore. People want more space, more openness and more freedom where they can gather more together. And, you know, again, if they don't get it, they'll just make it themselves. They want clean, fresh, natural, open spaces that have a community or communal feel to it. There's a need or a call for more. That's where the money's going to be flowing as well. So if you're thinking about starting a business, think about all of the things that I've mentioned are going to come up over the course of this year, because this is just the seeding of it. It's not like, oh, here it's 2022 and that's all that's going to be, and, you know, then it's done. This is like literally, that's, you know, this is the chance really for you to get ahead of the next gold rush, I guess. All right, so what people will be interested in. People are going to be interested in things and people that roll up their sleeves and get stuck in and help others. The beauty is in the dirt, in the mud, in the sweat, in the beauty, in the fucking crotch of everything that you are, right? This is about getting stuck into things with the deepest aspects of yourself. It's not about surface stuff. It's about coming together. It's about really being accountable and responsible, and, you know, thinking about other people rather than just yourself. Those are going to be the things that are sexy this year. That's going to be the stuff that really gets people fired up. The elements and how they affect and change us: rain on the skin, air in the lungs, grass under your toes and in between your toes, and sand in your toes. I get really excited because I'm a hobbit at heart. You know, give me a tree to put my back to, a book, maybe some music. Don't necessarily need it, but, and, you know, a wide open expanse with my toes in the grass. You got me for life. I'm happy. I don't need much. All right. We'll definitely see a lot of kickback between companies and their workers. Why? 6 is the number of the home and the hearth. And as I said to you last year, this whole idea of going back to the office, a lot of people are just done with it. They're over it. They don't want it, right? And they will continue to kind of hold back from that. So a word to companies, etc. Think about ways that you can sort of maybe create a more blended feel where people can spend more time at home and some time in the office. Because if you try to just get them to come back to this whole 9 to 5 in the grind thing, it's just not going to work. It's already started falling apart. All right, people want comfort, connection, community, and ease. That's got more weight than the high-powered career this year, right? 6 is bringing a reckoning. It really is. Okay, so Jupiter falling or moving into the sign of Pisces is directly feeding into all of this. So Jupiter is the great magnifier, the great expander, the great lord of abundance and growth, children and spiritual law. So I've said this before and I will definitely say it again. I think we're going to see a massive drive to, not drive towards, but I think we're going to see a lot of babies born in 2022 for sure. The big man of kings and universal law is what I've put here. All of it sounds wonderful for the most part, and it is. But consider this, Pisces is the 12th sign. It's a placement of a lot of politics and people that are in politics, which means we might see as well, I think we're going to see a few meteoric rises of certain politicians or people that kind of seem to come out of nowhere and all of a sudden find themselves, you know, at the top with lots of followers or really, you know, standing out in their message or in their speech. If they meet the needs and the wants and the will of the people, they will survive. If not, it will be a collective thumbs down. It's going to be more and more that the will of the people starts to rule from here on in. So again, let that be a message to those of you that are in charge. So Pisces is all things and no thing at once. It's got no boundaries. It's a double-bodied water sign. As such, it's got no boundaries, and it means that we do have quite a lot to consider in this sense, because if Jupiter expands things and Pisces has no boundaries, this is like literally an expansion of that boundlessness. So this is something to consider. It's also going to be, I talked about the huge wave of babies that might be coming in from here on in. We now see a dissolving of certain ideas and also places. The European Union might start to crumble or dissolve. Not saying it will, but just an idea. Borders between countries may also start to come down, or the lines may get very blurred. Neptune's already in Pisces, so we're going to see a lot of legalized drugs this year. And maybe in places where they haven't been before, or maybe places where it's been a little bit more taboo, etc. I think we're definitely going to see a drop in the crime rate, which I talked about in, if any of you purchased my 2022 videos, I talked a lot about this for 2022 in those. So if you've seen the sign videos, then you know I talked about this. Whatever has been hidden will come to light in powerful ways. And then finally, as Jupiter is the ruler of spiritual law, we're going to see more than a few cases of miracles, but it's also going to be vital to have your wits about you, right? It's important that you don't allow yourself to be hoodwinked this year, because there are going to be a few rises of gurus, etc. And as we drive towards more people cultivating a need for spirituality, especially as we get to 2023, it's going to be important to use your own discernment, especially for some of the stuff that we see, because we might see some weird stuff in 2022 still. You know, just be aware that that is the case. Now, I have said to everybody, building a solid spiritual practice for 2022 is going to be vital, because that spiritual practice and that spiritual work that you do in 2022 is going to offer you the life raft or the rope to get you through the murky weirdness that is going to be 2023. I make no bones about saying this, right? For those of you that have seen the webinar that I did with Heather from Astrology with Heather, we talked about the next 5 years from 2020 right through to 2025. It's going to be an interesting time for sure, but 2023 was the year that really stood out to me as being like, okay, yeah, this is going to be a really weird year, right? We're going to see some odd stuff 2022, but it will be the real weird sort of murky, what the hell is going on? That will be 2023. So finally, energy medicine, witchcraft, occult things, astrology, numerology, tarot, human design, all of these systems are going to be more in demand than ever. We might see some kickback from them. Integrity is going to be everything. Those tarot readers, astrologers, numerologists, human design readers, witches, all the rest of it. The ones that have integrity will be the ones that really do well this year. Remember, Jupiter's in its home sign of Pisces. So while there'll be an expansion of these things, it will be the ones that have integrity, the ones that are on point, the ones that are not charlatans, basically, that will be the ones that continue to grow, whereas everybody else will kind of fall to the wayside. And then finally, let me be clear, the age of the guru, while coming to an end, will be going out with a bang. All right, so you're going to have to see this. And I do feel that we're going to see a lot of, not a lot of, but certainly some of the bigger ones will be taking a tumble, because the smoke and mirrors energy just not going to cut it this year. All in all, I think this can be a very beautiful year, maybe one that is a little bit excessive, possibly even a little bit pedantic in its energies. Remember, it is Venus ruled, so maybe the dark side is that people just want more luxury because they've been denied so many things. But it is going to be lighter, it is going to be brighter, it is going to be easier, more down to earth, and certainly better than anything we've experienced over the course of the last 3 years. With that said, stick around and we will get into your life path reading for 2022. Thank you so much. Take care and I'll see you soon. Hello, you wonderful wife. Hello, you wonderful Life Path 1 person. Welcome to your reading. So let's get straight into it. I've got my decks of cards here. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless them with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. And I also have a little write-up of how you are likely to experience the energy of the 6th year personally on a more microcosmic level. All right, so overall this is definitely going to be a slower energy for you. It'll also be where you'll need to be more conscious and more deliberate in your actions. All right, so you have to really think about what you're doing. Regardless of what personal year this number is for you, I'm talking about the way these numbers interact. There will be a link somewhere above my head and there'll be a link in the description box below to show you how to find your personal year number. All right. Also, use this year to dig into or begin your studies. If there's something that you've always wanted to learn, this year you have the chance to really get into it. Like, you could have this powerful sponge-like ability to take on board information in ways that you haven't before. So this could be a really powerful year for you in that regard. If there's something that you've always wanted to learn, or if there's something that you know but you want to deepen that knowledge, use this year. All right, so develop your intuition, your psychic awareness, your intuitive faculties and gifts. Anything of that nature this year is highly favored for you. So find ways to tap into it, find ways to develop your intuition, and find ways to, I almost want to say, like, yeah, find ways to really tap into all of your latent psychic skills and abilities. It's going to be a quieter year with a lot more deeper significance, right? So this is a good year. Get into the practice, and I'm not saying like live your life by signs and omens or anything like that, or get obsessed with it, but pay attention to what happens. Pay attention to the big events in your life, to the trends, the themes, the energies that sort of seem to constantly keep coming round, because this year you'll notice that there is a deeper significance to things. So you know, maybe get well versed in symbology or symbolism in some way, shape or form. Build a spiritual practice this year. I've talked about this for the overall sort of energy for the year ahead, absolutely, but I think for you guys especially, this is going to be it'll be a year where you'll really need to build that, so be sure to put that in. Bring balance and form to your ideas. So if there's something you want to do, if there's something that you want to create, if there's something that you want to release out into the world, this would be a really good year to look at all aspects of the things that you want to do and ask yourself, what is there too much of, or what is there too little of? And very often the answer to that question this year is going to be people, right? The more you interact with, connect with others, the better it's going to be for you. Do your research on everything that you want to do or create, right? So you've got to build that foundation. It's not just, oh, you know, I've got this idea to do this, I'm going to just jump straight into it haphazardly. Do your research. Really be very reflective on things this year and use the year as such. Don't go it alone, no matter what it is that you want to do, no matter what it is that you're... like, you know, as a life path 1, you're naturally very bold, very dynamic, you're very pioneering, and you usually want to be the forerunner, the bellwether of something, right? But this year, it's going to be through connections, it's going to be through community. So stay that urge that you have this year. Unless you're in a personal year 1, I would say really do find ways of connecting to others. And even if you are in a personal year 1, I would say probably find a way to still check in with others, because it's going to be through partnerships, connections, that you'll see your ideas come to life. All right. So your blessings for this year are going to be acceptance, right? So you will have this innate ability to say, okay, it is what it is. Let's keep it moving. Spiritual, occult wisdom, knowledge, psychic awareness, all of those things will come so naturally to you this year, so easily to you this year. Tap into them, use them, because they will enhance your life and they'll add another dimension to your life that maybe hasn't been there, or maybe has been lacking up until this point. This is going to be a slow and reflective year. Be sure to self-analyze, be sure to find ways of self-soothing, healthy ways of self-soothing. You know, great year to see a counselor or a therapist of some sort, to see somebody that can help you pick apart maybe some of your traumas or some of your old ideas or belief structures, things that have been ingrained into you through the life that you've had. This could be a really good year to reverse some of that stuff through that deep introspective kind of work. And finally, what I've got here as one of the final blessings is flow state. This year you will find it so easy to enter that state where you just, you know, where you find your flow, you find your rhythm, and it just comes to you naturally. So this could be a great year for ideas. Probably not so much for putting them into practice or starting big, bold new things, because you've got other things to be getting on with. Some of your lessons for this year, it's going to be slow, not an energy that Life Path 1 people enjoy so much. It's going to be inward and possibly quite insular, so there's going to be a lot going on within you over the course of this year. The work that you have to do this year is painstaking. It's slow, steady, and continued sustained effort. Can be somewhat lonely. This energy might see you being, you know, feeling a bit more outside of the group than maybe you actually are. All right, so just keep that as a consideration. And finally, accountable, right? This year will very much hold you accountable for pretty much everything. So be conscious and be sure what you tie yourself to and what you want to really, you know, be a part of. So your first card out, I often say, I believe that the first card out, it kind of gives you an idea of what this year is going to be about for you. All right, it kind of gives you a glimpse at the overview. All right, so you get one destiny card, one direction card per month of the year. And for this year, my dear Aquarians, you have the Fool card. New things, new places, new people, new energy. Especially new people, new connections, new partnerships. That's in line with the fact that this is a 6 year, which is all to do with, you know, people, connections. It's all about community, and also all about responsibility. The fact that you've got the Fool card, then this really taps you into this energy or this idea that there are going to be an influx over the course of this year of new connections, new communities, new ties on a personal level, on a platonic level, on a professional level. Be open to this over the course course of this year, because the chances are you are going to be meeting so many new people, aligning with so many new things and learning new things, or having new insights into things that you thought you knew well. Maybe you go even deeper into them. You know, like maybe this is that you say to yourself, right, I want to rededicate myself to some sort of method of study or some area that I feel like I'm an expert in. I want to go to that next level or to a deeper level. Your direction card for this is the Sun card. All right, so we start the year, my dear Life Path 1 people, very nicely. So for a select few of you, if you're in that situation, this could be a great year where you are maybe meeting a partner. January, straight out of the gate, this could introduce you to a partner, maybe somebody that is from a very different background to you. For some of you, this could be that you're having children. This could be a great year for you having kids, you know, maybe deciding to start a family. The Fool card is, you know, life, right? And it's moments of pure destiny, and the Sun card is pure blessings. January, as you start 2022, I feel like whatever you come into the year with from the previous year, it's like you enter the year with a big blessing, or a big blessing will find you in January. The fact that this month kind of sets the tone for the entire year, I think this is great. I really do. So remember, Venus is going to be retrograde for most of this month. Mercury will go retrograde on the 15th in the sign of Aquarius, come back into the sign of Capricorn. So just be aware that that energy is around as well. So you got a double hit of this retrograde energy, and a lot of it in the sign of Capricorn. So keep that in mind for whatever sign you might be. All right. For February, you have the Justice card. So this could be new commitments, new contracts coming in. This could be some of this new work stuff, right? So if January is introducing you to new people, maybe for some of you as well, this could be some sort of spontaneous travel. This could be some sort of travel that comes in because of work or through work, which could be really, really nice for you. February does look like a new contract. So for some of you, this could be a new job. For some of you, this could be making a partnership, a potential relationship. You know, it could be more, maybe you're sharing it with the world, right? Maybe your status is changing. So you're no longer single, but you've got a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or a wife. For some of you, this could be a time where you're getting married. For a select few of you, I will say that this could be an issue or a challenge that comes up in a relationship. So just keep that in mind. And this comes up with the 10 of Swords, right? So one way that this could show up for you, some challenge or issue that you've had in a relationship, in a partnership, could come to an end for you here in February, right? For a select few of you, this may spell the end of a relationship. It might, and when I say a relationship, doesn't just have to be like a romantic one. This could be a platonic one. It could be a professional one. It could be a client relationship of some sort. There could be, for some of you, this could be a connection or a collaboration that's coming to an end. But remember, anything that ends, especially under the energy of the number 6, there will be something better or something more aligned to who you are now that will come in, right? So it's not all doom and gloom. The fact that you've got this as well, I would say for some of you, this could be, like I said, the end of challenges in a partnership, in a relationship, in a connection. Whatever is coming in for you in January, it may see you having to release something to make space for it. All right, let's get rid of that and that. For your March, you have the Hanged Man, right? So the first quarter of the year happens to be quite an interesting time of it for sure. You've got this Hanged Man card, so March is very likely to be a time where things are taking a very deeply spiritual turn for you. Maybe this is where you are really rededicating yourself to your spiritual path and or practices. This could also see you being really honest with yourself on a much deeper level about what you give or where you give too much. This might be a month for some of you as well, where you really do feel the need or the energy kind of making you lay low, right? This could be a moment where you say, actually, you know what? I need to take a step back. I need to take some time for myself. I need to get back to what what I feel makes me feel good. Whew. Excuse me. And on top of that, we've got the 9 of Cups, right? So March, I would invite all of you Life Path 1 people, go to a healer, go to a therapist, go to a spiritual counselor, a spiritual therapist, go to a Reiki healer, go to somebody that does energy work, anybody that does some sort of healing work. March is highly favored for you, right? We've got the spiritual energy of the Hanged Man. We've got the 9 of Cups, which is healing, right? Aside from wish fulfillment, which I'll talk about in just a moment, this is, true healing in the real sense, right? On that deep spiritual level where you find happiness again, where you find abundance on the inside, on that spiritual level. You've got this with the Hanged Man. So this suggests to me that some wish, some hope, some goal that had stopped, maybe a spanner had, been thrown in the works in some way, shape or form, and something didn't go ahead in the way that you wanted it to. This suggests that it could get moving, right? This could be actually, March could be a really nice month for that reason. It could see something that you've wanted or waited for a long time starting to now take shape, or at least the brakes that were put on now start to move. So, this could also be an antidote to whatever it is that you're having to release or let go of here in February. January, though, that tells me that it is going to be a good year. Even, when I say it's going to be a good year, that doesn't mean that every single moment of every single month is going to be amazing. There's always going to be challenges. That's life, right? It's infinite shades of light and dark, and it's all of the things that are in between that. But yeah, just a very, very interesting first quarter. As we come into April, so on April 30th, we're going to have the first of the eclipses in the sign of Taurus. This is going to be a solar eclipse. So whatever you're starting, beginning, putting into motion around this time will culminate or complete here in November. So this is a big deal, right? Because this is the first, what we would call like a true eclipse in the sign of Taurus, and this kicks off the first eclipse season of 2022. For that month, you have the Wheel of Fortune, so it suggests that this eclipse or this eclipse season is certainly going to be quite kind to you. Remember, the Wheel of Fortune is about you being in the right place at the right time. This could be some amazing moment of synchronicity that shows up for you. It could be the culmination or the completion of some sort of challenging issue as well. And I kind of feel like March and April is going to be a time of that, where you're seeing things really wrap up, where you're seeing things complete, and you can kind of have a moment where it's like, okay, you know what, that cycle is done now. That chapter is over. I can move forward from here, feeling refreshed, feeling renewed, feeling invigorated. April could also be a month of travel for you, and it comes up with the 4 of Swords. My money is on you taking some sort of vacation. This could be a vacation, because you've got the 4 of Swords, right, which is all about rest, recuperation. It comes up with the Wheel of Fortune. That for me is vacation. This is you taking some time out, maybe taking stock. March and April could both bring travels that speak to you on a spiritual level. Maybe you go for a vacation and you end up having a very spiritual experience on that vacation. I'll give you an example. In 2011 or 2012, I went to Morocco, and it was actually just meant to be a holiday, and what I got out of it was so much more. Like, I had this deeply powerful and profound spiritual experience that really I can't explain it any better than when I walked into the Sahara Desert. The desert literally spoke to me. It was just the most profound, and there were lots of really crazy, quirky little things that happened on that trip that were literally I heard the desert speak to me, and we had this amazing communion. So this could be something like that takes shape for you. What I will say to you as well for April, this would be a really good time to allow things to unfold. So if there are delays that show up for you, let them, because the chances are you're not supposed to be wherever it is that you were heading. If your path ends up changing and you end up changing directions in some way, shape or form, again, same energy. You will be put where you're supposed to be in April, so just let it unfold. May the 16th, we will have the second of the eclipses, which will be a lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. Keep an eye out for that. And at the same time, Mercury will also be retrograding out of the sign of Gemini and into the sign of Taurus. So this year, all of the Mercury retrogrades start in air signs and retrogress back into earth signs. So we're talking about all of the airy things, communication, connection, and all of the earthy things, materials, money, finances, food, right? So we're going to be seeing changes in all of these things, or certainly at least changes of mind around some of these things, and certainly around values at this time. So for May, you have the Hierophant card, so kind of like the Taurus energy in the Taurus month, or part of the Taurus month. And this Hierophant card, I mean, look, right, in this deck it's actually called Faith. And spirituality seems to be a very powerful, very pervading theme for Life Path 1 people throughout 2022. What I like about this, just from the cards and from obviously the way your numbers interact with the year itself, I almost get this sense that you are taking this idea of building a spiritual practice now very seriously. It's like I can see it in the cards that you're really working to marry the material and the spiritual together, right? To bring these two things into alignment. The fact that you've got the Hierophant card here, this could be a time where you are maybe returning to school for some of you. Maybe some of you are deciding to align with a bigger institution in some way, shape or form. You've got this with the Queen of Swords, right? So this could also be some sort of legal dispute or challenge that comes up. Remember, the Queen of Swords is about what we fight for and the challenges that we might have. Also about balancing out situations. The Hierophant can represent the establishment, the authority, the government. So we could be seeing on the wider world stage some sort of challenge. For you personally, on a microcosmic level, this may show up that you're having to interact with a governing body, like in your locality. Maybe you're having to present some sort of information. Maybe you are, choosing to fight some sort of, with everything that's going on. It kind of makes sense. Maybe there's something that you're choosing not to do or not to go ahead with. Because you've got this Queen of Swords, this also suggests to me that there could be some sort of dispute, a legal dispute, a challenge of some sort that comes up that you're having to really, work hard at, to really gather and gain information, to present the facts, to present the findings, so that, however you proceed, you're, I almost want to say, like, in a stronger position to make a decision for yourself. That's one way that this could show up. Another way, because the Hierophant card is all about, can be about universities. It can be about, usually it's universities, like things like the Emperor tends to be university, schools, etc. Whereas the Hierophant card tends to be those bigger institutions. So like groups of things, local authorities, governing bodies in some way. So we could be seeing something for you unfolding there. And the Queen of Swords could be an air sign woman, an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, who is the Hierophant. This could be a friend. It could be, no, not really a friend actually. It would be more like this could be somebody that ends up being a guru to you, somebody that ends up being a teacher or a guide, somebody that's really going to help you get new knowledge, new understanding, new resources, somebody that's going to help you in a fight or a challenge or a battle that you're going to have. And it could just as easily be that you are gaining knowledge and wisdom, but you're having to work really hard for it. Like with this combination, you will feel the strain. You'll be like, damn, you know what? I don't think I've worked this hard in my life. For June, you have the Sun card, right? So double hit of the Sun. We love. So this could be really great for you. June is going to be a much easier month. This also suggests to me that whatever shows up for you in May, it looks like it's likely confined to that space. All right. So in order to see what is completing around this time, Think about what was happening for you around the new moon of Scorpio in 2021, all right? Because this is likely, here in May, is likely where you're going to see the bookend of that. With the Sun card, you have the Knight of Wands. I love this, right? So there's a few ways that we can read this. One, this could literally be an Aries teenager may feature for you very heavily. This could be somebody that you're helping, assisting, somebody that you're working with or alongside or employing for some of you as well. Now, this suggests to me that June is going to be a month of travel, all right? This could be a month where your work takes you further afield. I mean, it could just as easily be some sort of leisurely pursuit where you're taking some time out. If April were travel for vacation that turns spiritual, June would be travel that is just for fun, all right? Just fun, just enjoyment. It's passionate, it's vibrant, it's sexy. It also suggests to me as well, you could be presenting something to the world in June, something that feels really something that you love to do, something that you want to share with people because you love it so much. For July, you have the Tower card, right? So an interesting year for sure. Now, remember what I said to you when the Fool card showed up? New things, new places, new people. It looks like there are a whole lot of detours here. And what this pairing actually tells me is that no matter what the challenges are that show up, well, it's actually only these three at this point. No matter what the challenges are that show up, if you roll with the punches, they will be for your highest good, all right? And I actually really like that. I think it's great. Tower, right? This could be some shocking moments. It could be some movements or ideas that come up that you hadn't expected. It could be some unexpected developments or ideas. This could just as easily be a month where you have a big, profound shift in consciousness. And it comes up with the Hermit card. So I'm going to stick with that profound shift in consciousness. This could just as easily be as well a time where you are feeling to take some time out to be alone. This could be for some of you returning to studies. For some of you, this could be a moment at which where everything that you are studying or learning, where that spiritual practice that you've been working on, you know, you have a moment with everything where something joins something else in your mind, and then you have another insight, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's just like this stained glass window of magic comes together, and you then suddenly understand something a lot deeper or a lot bigger or more profoundly. The reason I say this is when I started reading tarot, which was many moons ago at this point, I had certain moments at which, where, you know, like it was just meanings and it was just positions and it was just this and it was ideas and da-da-da. But then there were moments where it all just kind of came together and it was like, okay, this is how this works. Anybody that's ever done a degree program or a long period of study on something, maybe even for those of you that have studied astrology, you know this. There comes a point where everything that you've learned that just feels like knowledge that you have suddenly starts to come together. You start to see it all kind of align, and then you're like, okay, this is how this kind of works, right? That could be July for you. This could be a powerful personal realization that comes up for you that really changes, not changes your mind, but it could really give you a deeper insight into something. All right, for August, you have the Star card, right? So this is where, so the time that you spend alone in July is going to be well spent because you come into a whole bunch of interaction, connection, and people in the month of August. August is going to be a breakthrough month for you. This is where some sort of new insight, some sort of new wisdom or understanding suddenly becomes, you know, the thing that you're launching out into the world or sharing with the world in some way. I really like this. This could also be a month where you are literally hurling something out into the world and seeing how it's met by people. Comes up with the Three of Wands. For those of you that are planning to study online courses, for those of you that are creating online courses to share with the world, August looks like a good month for you. If there's something that you would like to do online or in the digital sphere, My money is on August. That is a great launch month for you. Obviously check your own numbers and your own astrology to see how it matches up. But based on these cards and the energy of the year, this could be a really fantastic month for you sharing something with a bigger community. This could be as well for some of you, maybe a connection to people from a different background, from a foreign culture. You've got that Three of Wands, which is a really lucky card, right? It tends to bring expansion and growth, and it tends to show up when we need to expand our vision. And the fact that you've got that with the Star card, this is kind of like, how big is too big? How big is too big to dream? How many people is too many to reach, right? So August could be a great month. If you're not one for the limelight or the spotlight, August can probably be a little bit uncomfortable, just for that reason. September, we have the third and final Mercury retrograde, which will go retrograde in the sign of Libra and come back into the sign of Virgo. So pay attention to that. You've got the Empress, right? Fruitful endeavors, juicy gossip as well, right? So this could be where you're getting some information that really helps you or assists you in some way. The thing is, because of that Mercury retrograde, I kind of get the feeling that whatever information you're given in September, you won't be able to use it immediately. So it might be something that you kind of get and you're like, okay, I have to sit on this for now because I can't do anything with it at this moment in time, but it doesn't mean that I can't do something with it in general, right? So this could be really exciting. Oh, and it comes up with the Six of Wands. All right, I love it. Okay, this is great. So for those of you that are planting seeds in August, September, you're seeing the results or the rewards. Now, because it is the Six of Wands, the message here with the Empress, in some way, shape or form, you are shining, right? August and September is going to see you really really shining, like really being well received. Maybe something that you do, something that you create, something that you put out into the world really starts to reap rewards. This is where you're starting to see as well possibly the material results for the hard work and effort that you've put in. And a lot of the work that you've done this year, painstaking was one of the lessons of this year. That slow, steady, relentless pace of energy this year is what's going to get you through. And it looks like if you do so, you really collect the rewards from it here. I really like that because it could be some sort of worldly acclaim that has some sort of material advancement attached to it as well. The other thing is as well that I want to say to you, let yourself be celebrated, all right? Even if it's unnatural to you or it feels weird or whatever. I mean, as a life path one, you're kind of okay with this. Usually it's like an acknowledgement, oh, that's great, thank you, and then on to the next thing. Life path one people that are conscious, that are aware and stuff, they tend to be they don't really let it go to their heads. They like to be seen as, well done and all the rest of it, but they don't really hang on to it. It's like, oh, well, easy come, easy go. What's next? Because they're always driving forward to the future. For October, you have the Temperance card, but before then, October 25th, we have the solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio, right? So this is going to be a big deal because it's going to be an initiation point as well. The Temperance card here is going to see, this is going to be what I would call the turning of the tide, right? So as we hit October, not only are you going to start to feel the next year's energies start to show up or manifest for you, you're going to start to really feel this different sense of energy, or maybe even as well, whatever happens in May finally comes good. Now, the really interesting thing about this October energy, there's a sense here that I get that there's some sort of, I want to say that the word that keeps coming to mind is justice. So whatever challenges or issues come up of a legal nature where somebody has, done you a wrong, or they've tried to do you a wrong, or they've tried to slander your name, or whatever. You're getting justice in October, like something comes good, something finds that Venusian element or energy of the sixth energy to come good. This is where you're going to see like, yeah, okay, you know what? This is that moment. And it comes up with the King of Cups. This could literally be a therapist, a counselor, a healer of some sort. The reason I say that is because the King of Cups, in terms of the professions, this is usually somebody that is, this can be a counselor, psychiatrist, therapist, doctor, healer, mystic, seer. They come up with the Temperance card. That is a deeply spiritual person that comes into your world, that helps you find some sense of justice, that also helps you find some clarity, right? There could be some sort of justice that shows up, or this could be you working on yourself on the internal level. October is going to be a powerful month of manifestation for you, but it's also going to be a time at which a lot of things seem to be culminating or converging into one. So it's interesting that this happens around a grand beginning point, because it's a solar eclipse. So the full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus, remember, whatever started here is initiated here around the 30th of April, is likely to be culminating, completing, or coming to fruition here in November. And you have the Strength card. What this tells me is you need to stay the course, right? Whatever is going on for you at the moment, whatever is showing up for you in November, whatever the challenges, whatever the blessings, you have to stay the course. You have to stick forward. You have to stick it out, right? You can't you have to stick it out is probably the best piece of information that I can give you. And you've got the Seven of Pentacles, right? So this is going to be the culmination of a lot of time, energy, effort, some of your investments. At this moment in time, it kind of feels to me like this moment in November might be a time where it's like you're so over something. You know, when you get to that point where you're like, I'm so over this, or I'm so done with this. Even if that is the case, stay the course. Whatever you've done up until this point, it's enough. You just have to wait for the payout. You just have to wait for the goods to show up for you. All right. So November's going to be a month where you've got to stay put. All right. Don't give up. And you finish the year with the Lovers card, right? So a partnership, marriage, connection, that is a very sensual connection as well. So in this deck, I actually believe the Lovers holds more true to the traditional sort of meaning of the Lovers, right? Which is love, connection, partnership, marriage, all of that good stuff. This could be where a marriage or a partnership is really being highlighted. It could also be a time at which you are having to really demonstrate that you are in something for the long haul. For those of you that have challenges in your relationship over the course of this year, maybe the message here is that if you stick it out, the results and the rewards are absolutely there for you. And it comes up with the Emperor. My money is on a December wedding in the sun. For those of you that are single, for those of you that are maybe just getting to that point of being really serious with somebody, I kind of get the feeling that December is going to be a month where some of you are getting engaged, some of you are actually getting married. If you are getting married, I don't feel that it will be in the place that you're from, right? So maybe this is you saying, you know what, let's go away for our wedding. Let's do it on a beach somewhere with our toes in the sand. Speaking to me right now. Right? This could be one of those times where you do forge a bond or a relationship or a partnership on a very deep level, but maybe you go on to cement it or seal it in a very unconventional way. When it comes to your when it comes to those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, maybe that November message is there for you, right? To say that you've got to stay the course. If you want it to be good, if you want it to come to something, or to have all been worth it, maybe that is the message for you guys. All right. And then finally, for those of you that aren't, interested in marriage, partnership, or relationships, this could be a choice to align with. So remember here, you are possibly aligning with a bigger institution. Maybe in December, some of you are continuing or choosing to continue or further your studies. All right. And you're Gate 20, you've got the gate 12 and caution for your key to the year. Now, don't freak out. This doesn't say to, you know, yes, obviously it says to be cautious, but some of the human design messages are not contradictory, but they're like allegorical. So it's, yes, it's caution, you know, obviously don't be reckless this year, although you look, right, you got to take some calculated gambles and risks this year. You got the Fool card and the Sun card in the first month, right? But that caution card with the angel on it, I might add, it's a message to allow life to unfold and to go wherever it is that you're put, right? It's a caution or a guard against making decisions not to move out of fear, right? So this year, exercise caution, but in not in just the traditional sense, but in other ways as well. All in all, this looks like it could be a great year. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic 2022. Take care, and I will see you soon.